Hi everyone, Christina Werner here with another video for assignmentsofstamp.com. Today I'm using the Magical Christmas Stamp Set, which is the collaboration stamp set for Stamptember from Clearly Besotted. These fun unicorns and unicorn reindeer are so cute. I like the little scene they've included on the stamp set and all the different critters. I've stamped the large scene as well as one of the unicorns holding a candy cane in some intense black ink from Simon, and then I'm coloring them in. I've stamped it onto my favorite paper for coloring, which is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80 pound. And I'm going to be doing some very easy coloring with Copic markers. Nothing too crazy. I did some simple grays on the body of the unicorn. Then I added a pink blush and a couple of colors for pink on the unicorn's nose and the mane and tail. I also shaded in the ears. And then for the unicorn's horn, I decided to give it three colors: red, green, and white. These are the same reds and greens I'm going to be using on the Christmas tree here in a second. So I used two colors of red for the candy cane. And I also brought in just a little bit of that gray tone that I used on the body of the unicorn to shade the white stripes on the candy cane. So like I said, I used the same greens on the Christmas tree. I used YG21 and YG25, and I made sure to add the darker shade underneath the ornaments and kind of accentuating the different levels of the boughs on the tree. I also brought in a little bit of a darker green, which is a YG17, just to add a little bit more intensity on that green Christmas tree. And I flicked up from the bottom of each one of the tiers to give it a little bit of a shaded effect. I then took the lighter of my red shades, R35, and colored in all the ornaments, and then used the darker red to shade the bottom of the ornaments. For my rainbow, instead of doing Christmas colors, I decided to just do a really fun rainbow order. But I did a little bit of like pastel colors. I wanted it to not be like a traditional rainbow color. I wanted it to be a little bit more stylized. And that kind of goes along with the pink shades on the unicorn. I'm kind of going with those same colors for the clouds and the mountain as well. I've got BG11 for the clouds, and I'm just bringing in the strongest area of that color at the bottom of each cloud. So it's going to accentuate the white edge of the top of each cloud as well. For the mountain, I decided to use a purple shade. I'm using V01 since mountains that are in the distance tend to look purple. And then I used BG000 for the sky to finish off all of the coloring there. I then grabbed my Nested Circles die set from Simon and I cut out this little scene. It's going to give it quite a bit of a border on the outer edge once I run that through my die cutting machine. I used some Easy C tape to hold that die in place and then ran it through my die cutting machine. So I'm also going to cut out the unicorn that I colored earlier, and I do not have the dies for this stamp set. I think there are dies, but I don't have them. So I'm fussy cutting around the unicorn. I'm cutting right up to that black edge on the stamped image. And I have a little trick for you that I'm going to show you right here for making it look like you have the perfect cutting skills when it comes to cutting these out right up against the black edge. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of white peeking out and then you can tell you didn't cut it perfectly. So you can take a black marker. In this case, I've got a brush tip marker. It's a Copic multiliner. And you can sort of paint the edges of the shape. And this gives all the white core of the cardstock, it makes it black. And then it kind of hides any of those areas that might not be cut perfectly. So the unicorn's just going to go right there to finish off our little scene. I wanted to have a little bit of fun with the unicorn and how it's adhered to the scene. And I have these little mini action wobblers that are super fun to add onto your cards. It has a little spring in it, and you can adhere both sides of the spring, one to your object that you want to be bouncing around, and the other goes on your project. So it kind of bumps it up away from the surface, and it makes it super, super fun. I did have to trim it down a little bit, even though it is a mini action wobbler. I trimmed it down so it would fit behind the unicorn perfectly. And then I peeled up the adhesive backing on the portion that goes onto the project. And then I can press this directly down onto the scene where I want it. You just have to kind of hover it over where you want it to be and then press down. So now it stands up and you can kind of shake it and it wobbles. Super, super fun. I love using action wobblers on more cartoon-esque stamp set cards. So now I'm going to use the Kaleidoscope embossing folder. This was included in the October card kit from Simon. And I ran that through my die cutting machine, only embossing the front of a card base. So I've also got some pink cardstock here. This is cotton candy cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. I've trimmed that down so it's the perfect width to go behind my scene and also accommodate my greeting. So my greeting says, "Have a magical Christmas." And I thought it would be perfect to go along with this unicorn holding the candy cane. I'm going to be heat embossing it, so I'm prepping my cardstock with an anti-static powder tool, and then I will be stamping my greeting in some Versamark ink. Versamark is perfect for embossing because it's super sticky and it stays sticky for quite some time, so you don't have to rush to apply your embossing powder. The embossing powder I'm using today is Alabaster from Brutus Monroe. It's a nice dark white, fine detailed embossing powder. And I hit that with my heat tool until all the powder was melted and it was smooth. That's how you can tell that your embossing powder is completely ready to go, is when it kind of smooths out and you can't see the granules of the powder anymore. So I've got my greeting piece here. I've put some foam adhesive on the back, and then I adhered it directly to the center of my card base. And I had that lined up on my grid mat to help me get it centered. Then put some foam adhesive behind my scene here and adhered that down to the card. Now I wanted to make this a little bit more special and add some sparkle and shine. So I grabbed some Christmas red stickles and coated those ornaments on the Christmas tree. And then I also grabbed a bunch of sequins from Darice. And my favorite color of sequins are the crystal sequins. And I have two sizes, the 5mm and 8mm. So after I placed those in the different areas where I wanted them, I lifted them with my tweezers, put a dot of glue down, and then put the sequin back down on top. So I'm using some Honeybee Precision Glue for this. And then also to add some shimmer, I used a sparkle pen from Spectrum Noir. This is one of their clear ones that just puts a clear shimmer right over the top of whatever you apply it to. So I put that on the candy cane, the unicorn's horn, the top of the tree on the star, and then the entire rainbow. And it's just going to add a little bit of shimmer right over the top. So you can see as I tip this in the light, I've got the shimmer, I've got the sparkle on the Christmas tree, and also that shine from all of those sequins. So the stamp set I used today is one of the limited edition, limited quantity stamp sets for Stamptember. So make sure you head over to SimonsStamp.com to pick it up as soon as you can. I kind of anticipate that this will sell out very, very quickly. It is such an adorable set. Thanks so much for watching today, and I will see you guys in another video very soon.